Jackie, that was perfect. I just got finished putting it back to live, so hopefully everyone will come in again. And we that was perfect timing, perfect. I think you were probably online watching it, but hopefully the bar and grill didn't get shut down, and it'll be able to reboot and get back on here quickly. Very good. Yes, it's interesting. I know since I've become a ham, you notice things like that more now. And even when I travel, I'll be driving along. Oh, Ham lives there, and there's a few places that I'd like to actually stop sometime and go have a chat with them because they've got such interesting antenna farms. I know coming up I-75 just before Toledo, Ohio, on the east side of I-75, there's a club there. They've got quite an antenna farm there, and I would just love to stop in there sometime. I always tell my wife, if we ever buy there and there's cars in the lot, I'm getting off at the exit because the exit is right there too, and I'm going in. But so far, we usually when we go through there, it's early in the morning or late at night, so no luck so far. Anyways, VE3 IRB, Robert.
VE3 IRB. Well, I've got a G5, a G5 RV in the backyard for my HF. I've got mag mount on the car. I'm talking on my handheld just with the normal stubby. I do have a 2-meter vertical, and I think it also covers 440 that I've never installed. It's one of my projects, but I needed a couple things, and it just hasn't happened yet. But that's what I've got. Back to you.
Excellent, Bob. Well, a modest collection, but you've only started, so we'll give you a couple more years to get ramped up and get a few more things set up. But it works. Let me tell you, I've run a G5 RV since I became an amateur, and it's always my go-to antenna. Everywhere I've moved to, which has only been 3 places, but every house I've been in, the first thing that I put up is a G5 RV, and any other antennas are just sort of afterthoughts. But great little antenna. VE3 DKW, Rylan and Mark, good evening.
Hi, Larry, everybody on the net, and I'm actually on a handheld right now, and just need to see what kind of signal I got. So, Laird, how good of a signal do I got?
Oh, it's got a great signal, Rylan. So wherever you're standing and whatever you're doing, it's working perfectly.
I'm on a Belfang UV5R, which I've got this little car antenna set up on our shed. And that's what's giving me all the signal. Doesn't matter where I stand. It's on this little tin shed, so it might be using the shed as a little antenna, maybe. But we also got this dipole antenna right beside me. It's like 5 feet up in the air. 12 feet. Oh my god. And this 2-meter antenna, and we actually got this at the Ham Fest. I actually mentioned that when we did the one where we had to tell you guys what kind of radio and antenna we were using. So yeah, we've been using this for the past while. So back to you, Ed.
Excellent. You got a little bit of a collection, and yes, if you have a little tin shed there, it is acting as a ground plane, which will help your signal immensely. The better the ground plane, the better signal you're going to get out. So it's working well for you there, Rylan. Keep up the great work. Let's see, VE3KZT, John.
Evening, Laird, and all on that tonight. Well, what am I using for antennas? Here at the base, I have a 40 to 10 end-fired wire, a 2-meter mag mount for 2 meters that's stuck on the air conditioner on the south side of the house. And as of today, well, previously, but thanks to mobile in the truck, and an ATA F-120 that appears to work after some gentleman programmed or give it a butt in the butt. I don't know what it is. But that's it. V3KZT, back to net.
Excellent. Well, I'm glad you were able to get that working, because that's quite the antenna there. Allows you to do all of the HF there in your vehicle, and it's nice. So I'm glad that HIX was able to help you get that going, and it's up and functional now. I guess we're at the bottom of the list right now, so I'm going to take a quick standby and see if there's anybody else that wants to jump into the rag chew this evening, and if not, I'll bore you with all the goodies that I have hooked up to my radios. If anyone wants to jump in, now's your opportunity. This is VE3LKS.
V3FJC.
Okay, I copied VE3FJC. Anybody else?
VA3KJI.
Okay, I got VE3FJC Walter and VA3KJ Grant. So take it away, Walter. I imagine you have an antenna or two kicking around too.
Yes, I've had them probably as long as you have, up on the 134-foot wire antenna, fed with open wire feeders, and that's about 2/4 waves, I guess, on 40 meters, and it works on 80 also. Well, 80, 40, 20, 15, and 10. And I've got a dual band vertical for 2 and 440. And that's about it. Into, I should say, open feeders into an antenna tuner into the rig. And seems to work out all right. I'm in a fairly good location. In the car, I haven't had a radio in the car for a long time, but I've got a dipole, magma on there. Anyway, I'm looking for V3XEQ. Christopher, is he checked in tonight?
He sure has, Walter. I'll tell you what, I will take Grant the next call, and then after that, if you want to get back to Christopher, we'll give you an opportunity to do that. Does that sound fair?
Sounds like 100%.
Okay, very good. VA3 KJI Grant. And Grant, because you weren't on earlier, I had to pick someone else to skip tonight. So you lost out, buddy.
It wasn't for lack of trying, Laird. I was the guy that you couldn't hear. I was just making noise.
Oh, okay.
This is the hardest I've ever worked to get in. That's 5 times I got stomped on. So maybe I'll bump the power up to 65 watts there instead of 25. I was out in the garage with my handy talkie on my Bofang famous UV5R on about 5 milliwatts or something, hanging on, hooked up to a portable J-pole, and I was tripping the repeater, but obviously I wasn't getting any modulation out. But anyway, so antennas, I have the ubiquitous or whatever G5RV that I love. I can't get it to tune on 80, but that's a work in progress. But I did talk to a guy on 20 meters in Russia yesterday, so that made my week. And I have a AR270B or some dual band 2-meter 440 up on a pole in the peak of the house. And then I have various and sundry resistive loads on my handy talkies that don't work unless you're standing 6 feet away. I think they are better than the walkie-talkies I had as a kid, but not all that much. Back to you, Larry.
Excellent, Grant. Well, eventually you'll get that 80 meters going on the G5RV Junior, and away you'll go. I know some guys are able to do it and others aren't. So I think maybe once you get, I think you looked at that video I sent on the MFJ tuner, And if you're running, I think 150 watts or less, they said you could probably tune up a pizza pan and make it work on 160 meters. So it's got quite the range on it. With that, I'm just going to take a short break, guys, and I'm going to let Christopher, Walter, FJC, get back to Christopher for a minute. Take it away, Walter.
Thanks, Laird. V3XEQ, V3FJC. Can you give me a phone call? I don't have your phone number, so I can't call you. If you've got a pencil and paper, it's 725 or 429 2498. 249 429 2498. I'm tongue-tied tonight. And I drove down to your place today and looked at your antennas on the second floor there, but there was nobody answered the bell at the entranceway. So back to you.
Okay, Walter, I'll see if I can find the phone number. That might be an issue. and I'll tell you what, when you call, just call me on OSH. If you want to come down, if you want to come over tomorrow and pick up the radio, call me on OSH when you're leaving. When you're at the front door, I'll put it outside the door and just come up and get it.
Well, I've been calling you all week at different times on OSH.
Oh, okay. My bad. Yeah, I did. I had the radio off quite a few times. So I'll make sure that it's on 24/7. So if you want to call me tomorrow and come and get it, you're welcome to.
Okay, thanks, Laird, very much. I should explain, Laird, I volunteer for the CNIB in Toronto, and we look after receiving radios and selling the radios, and the money goes to the CNIB. So I perform a service. I'm not a wheeler-dealer.
No, fully understood. I know at the Hamfest we always have a table for you, and no, I know you used to wheel and deal, but now you're doing it to the benefit of others, and that's very commendable, Walter. And you're filling a definite niche in the community. So keep up the good work, and we'll always let you take over if it's along that line. Okay, let's just take one more standby, see if anybody else wants to check into the COVID-19 rag chew this evening. Okay, nothing heard. Gary Z, did you get an answer as to about your grounding issue for antennas? For 2 meters and 440, which is like 2 meters is what we're talking on here now, which is 144 megahertz. It's usually you have your antenna on your vehicle, which acts as a ground plane, as well as if you had it on your balcony, like Doug does up in Uxbridge and several of the other guys, that would work. So you don't have to worry about that. HF antennas, some you do, some you don't. Like I know my G5RV, it's just hung up there in the air, and I don't have it grounded anywhere except my antenna switch is grounded. Now I am putting up another one. This is one of my projects that I have to get working on. I'll show it to you guys. This is my end-fed dipole from MFJ. You know, all it is wire with a tuning box on the end, and it's good for, I think, 40, 10 through 40, and but that one does have to be grounded. So I'll just take a piece of copper pipe, drive it into the ground, and run a ground wire from that box. It's hard to see, but from that box to the ground wire. And let's see, what antennas do I have? Well, for HF, which is, again, these two radios right here, which are good for working radio RF around the world. I had to write them down because I got a few too many. Number one, I've got ham sticks. So if I'm out portable, ham sticks are just sort of beefy whips that you can put them on a mount and stick them on a bit of a mast and hopefully get out. You can mount them on your car if you wanted to. And they're probably about anywhere from about 7 or 8 feet long. I've got a whole bunch of them because you need one for each band. So if you wanted to use 40, you'd have to stop your car, get out, and put your 40-meter ham stick on. Then I've got a G5 RV, which has been mentioned a few times this evening for HF. I have a homemade 40-meter vertical, which will also work on other bands. I just haven't played with it much. And all it is like about a 20-foot Shakespeare fishing rod, one of the retractable ones. And I just have it fully extended and wrapped a piece of wire around it all the way up. I forget what length it had to be. I think it was like 34 feet. And then I have just another 34-foot radial off the bottom, just laying along the ground. And that's it. It runs into the house here, and it works quite well as well. So you don't have anything fancy to get out. That's it, I think, for the HF antennas. For 2 meters, like where I'm talking on right now, I've got an AR270 on my house, which is a dual band 2 meter 440 antenna. Let's see, I've got roll up J poles that we've made that are good for 2 meters and 440. We've got, I'm going to drop it here. Let's see, what else do I have? I've got Dawn VE3 DDNs, J poles, which are good for 2 meters and 440. On my vehicle, what do I have on my vehicle? I want to say Comet, but I don't think it is. But it's a nice dual band antenna too. There's no coils in it. There's a hard coil where it's actually just part of the antenna that's actually curled, so you can see it. I've given up on the antennas that have the small coil in the middle with the adjusting screws. I find they just break too often, and you end up buying another one. And I think that's about it. But it's fun. I've got mag mounts too. They're like half wave or 5/8 waves, so that if I'm going somewhere in my wife's vehicle, I can throw a radio in and off we go. So with that, we will go back up to the top to Peter, VE3 PWJ.
Okay, Laird. When Jeff said he unhooks all his antennas all at the same time, that brought back a memory for me. I can remember when I first put a G5 RV up here, which I still have. I remember being down the basement. I thought I could hear thunder, but I wasn't too sure. So I went upstairs, and it was quite black to the north of blue sky. So I had the antenna still on the HF rig, and I could not believe the sparks that come off the back of that rig. That scared me, and that taught me a lesson, I think, right away, Laird. For you.
Yeah, Gary, it was funny you mentioned that, because Gary Z online was wondering, aren't we afraid of lightning? My tower is grounded. I've got a ground rod out by my tower. I think I've got a ground rod just outside my window too, where if I need to ground another antenna, I can. My station is grounded finally now. I've got a wire running all from behind there all the way down to my electrical panel, and that's grounded. And then I've got a bus bar back in here, buried in the back there somewhere, so I can run a wire from all my radios to the bus bar, which then goes to the ground to the electrical panel. And you know what? Knock on wood, and that is good wood. I haven't had any problem with lightning, and I've been at it since '89. I know I must have been like 5 years old when I got my ham ticker, right? But I don't know whether it's just luck of the draw or my location in that, but I never had a close lightning strike. So And if it did, I've got trees that are a lot higher than my antennas are. So the trees would probably take the hit before my antenna would. Let's see. VE3 CRU, Bill.
Okay, VE3CRU looking north. Speaking of lightning, I don't disconnect anything in a lightning storm. Usually there, looking north at the White Oaks apartments and before them, that VA3GAR is in. I trust the lightning to hit them. They've got some nice towers on them, but otherwise, as far as the vehicle is concerned, I disconnect nothing. I trust my Michelin or Goodyear tires. Floating on them will keep me safe, because otherwise, as I say, the whole car is going to light up. Whether I disconnect stuff or not, the whole car is going to light up if I get a lightning strike. So as far as antennas on the vehicle there, you mentioned one. On a VHF contest, I have 4 beams and 4 loopers. The beams are 432 and below, running up to 18 feet in length, horizontal, of course, and 4 loopers. Now, the nice thing about loopers is the beams, for most of them, are 3/16-inch aluminum rod, going parallel to your direction of travel. But the loopers are 30 thou aluminum, edgewise facing into the wind, and they are just gorgeous, I'm telling you. At mincing up bugs and birds for your Friday night COVID feed there. Just what a gourmet like you needs. So, as I say, and if you go on to a UHF contest, you don't need the bottom 2 bands, 62 meters. So that means 2 beams and 4 loopers. Of course, you use dishes and other stuff on the other things. You heard of, what do you call it? Oh, I'll think of it there. The triangular thing there, I'm forgetting there, but, that's the log periodics. You've seen log periodics where the aluminum is in the open. Well, there's also some really sweet and peachy PCB board log periodics. One of them measures 2 inches across at the back, 3 inches in length, and it covers 4 bands, 2.3, 3.4, 5.7, and 10 gigahertz. And of course, with a log periodic, it can be fed with the same feed line. And there's another one that is 900 to 2600. That covers your 903, 1296, and 2304. But the thing about them, they'll handle up to 30 watts on normal communications. But if you sit and rag to at 30 watts on FM, you're going to find the PCB board getting nice and black. It will literally click on you there. So as I say, they're often used to drive a signal into a beam, into a dish. But anyway, that's enough antenna talk for now there. So great net, and by the way, great to hear we've got people with beams up there, and some of them are decent beams, 11 elements. That's a decent beam. Back to net.
Yes, and it all depends what band they're for too. Because if for 2 meters or 440, your beam isn't all that big. But if you get up to 40 meters and you're running a beam, that thing's a monster. Very good. And Gary's also asking, do hams generally suspend operations when lightning is in the area? I guess it depends. I usually don't let it bother me, but then I'll tell you what. Maybe that could be the question in our second go around here. Do you guys disconnect, or do you guys still play on the radio when it's lightning? Over to you, Steve. VA3 TPS.
Okay, very good. That's a good question by Gary, actually. Yes, I disconnect my antennas. I only had 2, now I have 3, so it takes me 35, 45 seconds to disconnect them. And I also run a couple of programs that on the internet for watching the lightning. And if I see a lightning strike within about 80 kilometers an hour, within 80 kilometers of my location, I shut down and I don't operate until the storm's over. Too much equipment to get fried, and I've seen it happen, and I don't need the aggravation.
and I don't want to make an insurance claim. Back to you, Laird.
Okay, very good. So there's one that, yes, he does shut down and disconnects. Vic, VE3JAR. How about you?
Yeah, okay. At the remote site, we have lightning arresters in line in the coax, and in the last 2 or 3 years of operating, I've never ever had any lightning problems with equipment getting damaged, or have I ever had to go and change the fuse in the lightning arrestor. So we just, if the band conditions are open, we'll work it, or
Okay, we're 1-1 now, so it's a dead heat after the first round. Very good. Yeah, and I don't do anything either. Maybe I'm flirting with disaster, but I don't know. I've just never had that issue. Let's see, Joe BE3 VGJ. He's got a brand new Yaesu, and I'm sure at the slightest little flicker, he's running in the house tearing that thing apart.
You got that right, Laird. Everything off the back and unplugger too. Yeah, everything's floating here in a lightning storm. Nothing connected to anything. Make sure everything's well isolated. And mention the back. Interesting what Jackie mentioned about taking note of people's antennas and what's around different buildings and that. That's something I've done too. Just when you go around, you sort of look what they've got. You see out in the country a little bit. A lot of people with the dishes, little diamond dishes or square dishes up in the air, about a foot square for the internet connection and that. You see a lot of that around. But sometimes some people have antennas up and you just wonder what they're used for. Interesting to see that. And yes, again, I do disconnect during a lightning storm or even any sign of it, or if I'm going to be away for a long time. Back to you.
Okay, very good. Yeah, so now we're tied at 2. It's 2 that disconnect and 2 that don't. So let's see, VA3 DCE Doug. Take it away, buddy.
I'm glad you couldn't think of anything to say there, Laird. I don't have a problem with lightning because I live in an apartment on the second floor of a 4-story building, and I don't think there's any problem with lightning going to hit me in here anyhow. I have more problem with low-hanging tree branches. I've managed to break off 2 mobile antennas and lose one. They don't seem to like that bakelite at the bottom of the antenna. They'll snap it right off there, and then you lost your antenna and you're gone. You're right off the air for sure. That's it. Anyway, Laird, 7-3. We'll talk to you later. Bye-bye.
Okay, so I don't know how to score Doug. He's sort of a neutral guy there, so he doesn't disconnect, but he's not really affected. So I don't know how to score that one. We'll just leave that one off for now. VA6 HEM, Mike. Uh-oh. Hope Mike didn't get hit by lightning out in Calgary. Let's see, VA3 BAH, Brian.
Good day, everybody, again. Well, I have lightning arresters, so I run 75 feet of coax from the antenna down to a hole in the side of the house, and then I've got a lightning arrestor, which is grounded, and then I have another 75 feet that comes into the house, which I connect to the radio. And we've been in this house for 5 years, and so far I have not disconnected anything. But there has been some lightning, but if you look at the lightning stats on the Weather Canada website, we don't get a lot around this area at all. And back to you, net control, or RagTube control. Ragnet.
Oh, that was so last Friday, Brian. Very good. Yes, although you guys get a lot of ice and snow down there, so I don't know which one is worse. And just out of curiosity, for people listening online, I I rearranged my shack a bit this afternoon, but I just noticed that my speaker is now behind my webcam. So I'm interested to know how the sound is coming through, if it's still okay, or if I need to move my speaker in front of the webcam so it picks it up by the mic easier. Let's see, VE3HIX, Bob.
Well, Laird, you're going to have to give me half marks on this one because I keep things connected in the wintertime. But from now on till next fall, every time I shut down, I disconnect the antennas because now we're into lightning season. And yes, I know we do get lightning in the wintertime, but that's extremely rare. So we'll go halfway on this one. And let's see now. I don't know if John Bertram Smith actually answered the ATAS antenna. I know the antenna works. I just didn't hear actually did he get it working with his rig on the truck or not when he comes back on. We'll listen for that one. Back to you there, VE3HIX.
Okay, very good. Remind me when we get down to him too, if I forget and he forgets. So feel free to jump back in, Bob. VE3IGX, Cam.
Okay, you can put me down for disconnecting the antennas. And if I'm going away for 3 or 4 days, I'll also disconnect them. And I also have a G5RV up on the top shelf in my closet. But Jimmy says I can't use it until he gets one up. So in the coming years, it might be just coming antique. So anyway, if nothing else, I'll say 73 to everybody, and I'll be listening till the end. VE3LKS, VE3IGX.
Yeah, I was going to say, if you're waiting for Jimmy, that's going to be new old stock someday. Cam, do me a favor, put it up tomorrow or Sunday and get talking on it and let Jimmy know. And we can watch his head explode. Hi. Very good. And I had you down for a disconnect. So right now, I'm going to put Bob as a disconnect because he does disconnect during lightning season. So it's 4 disconnects and 2 no disconnects. Let's see, who are we down to here? Scott, VE3RPN, take it away. This is VE3LKS.
VE3LKS, VE3, Laird, good topic there, and hello everybody again. Last call, I guess, for the night. Actually, I do. I'm one of these ones in the winter. I do leave it attached. When I go camping, I disconnect right away completely when there's lightning in the area. And at home, I do the same thing. I make sure it's all gone. It's all disconnected. I had an incident with a Spitfire 23 channel CB. That was my first beautiful base I had at home, and I got home. My mother said, "You better check something in the basement. Smells like wires burning." I went down, and I had a Ringo on the side of the house, and it was just up on a small tower that I had. And I'll tell you, at that point in my life, I said, anytime when there's lightning around, this baby's going to be disconnected. However, the baby had a lot of damage, so I ended up getting rid of it. And, we did end up getting another one, but I did not leave it hooked up in a lightning storm. So you can put me down as a disconnect. Can't think of much else, buddy. You did a great job, and we'll clear with you. I got to do a little running for a moment, get her a nice chocolate milkshake, and no, I don't really put a lightning rod on her bed, but that's a good idea. Have a good night, everybody. Somebody there. V3LKS, V3RPS.
Okay, great having you in tonight, Scotty, and enjoy your milkshake too, because I know you always get one when you go out. So take care and nice chatting. And there's nothing better than the smell of electronics when the smoke got out of them. Let's see, VA3 RTV Jeffrey.
Yeah, thanks, Led. And as I already mentioned before, I disconnect all my antennas all the time when I'm not using them. So, any case, I've been hit by lightning once. When I was in Ashburn, we lived at the bottom of a hill and surrounded by 300 odd trees, and next door neighbor, which was behind us on a hill, wasn't touched. So it's not necessarily the highest thing, but the real shock was one morning I went into work, and as you know, in the science center's in a valley, so to get to work we go down this steep hill and into the parking lot, and there is a tree in the valley there, and the tree was split in two by a lightning strike, and there was a couple underneath the tree, sheltering from the rain, and they were both killed. And I could not believe it. And I thought, how on earth would that have got struck by lightning, being so low down? Any case, I came out lunchtime, and the Metro Parks had completely removed the tree and every sign of that tree, and put new grass down, and you couldn't tell. Just amazing how quickly they did that. But in any case, my point is that you don't mess about with lightning. It is so powerful. You get a direct hit, and you've had it. But I think Jimmy is being a little bit overcautious. He just doesn't even turn his set on. Back to you, Led.
Nor does he put those funny things up in the air that can get struck by lightning. Very good, yes. And Gary's asking another question here too. He's saying, even with the ground rod and arrestor, do you still risk damage to your expensive equipment if the antenna gets hit? Sounds like a split vote. Yeah, right now we're at 6-2. I don't know if you're grounded and have arresters and everything else, you should be okay. It's going to be a real freak of nature if everything gets by there. At least that's my opinion. Others may have another opinion, and we'll find out. So if you maybe future check-ins may want to comment on that. VE3 XEQ, Christopher.
Yeah, okay, Laird. Well, experience is probably the best teacher you can have. And went away to the cottage, came back, and all the fuses in the house were burned out, and a few other things, and the radio wasn't receiving. It had a 5/8 wave that was up, kind of like in the tree. We had an elm tree there, and it was sort of like in some of the branches. I checked out the antenna, everything was fine, the feed line was fine. I couldn't figure out why it wasn't receiving. So finally, I took the antenna down, and I took the bottom out of it, and there's a large aluminum coil, and it all came out in pieces like charcoal. So, I've always disconnected the radios if I'm going away or anything, and not operate during a storm. I myself have been hit by lightning. If you can't tell, I'm sure you can. Up in Peterborough, so live up there in the Tonabee River, and it wasn't a direct hit, but I was in bare feet and so forth, and I was on the grass, and the lightning hit the river, and man, oh man, it hurts. It hurts like that, to say the least. 7-3, everybody. Have a great weekend, and remember to be kind to somebody if you have an opportunity to do so. Back to you, Laird.
Yikes. It hit the river, and then, yeah. Well, it's a good thing the river dissipated a lot of it, but still. I bet you were doing a little bit of a tap dance there for a few minutes. That doesn't sound good at all, but I'm glad you survived that, and I'm glad especially since you're able to check into the rag tube now. So, not trying to be selfish, but we would miss you if you weren't able to check in. VA3 BTQ, Jackie. Oh, we may have lost Jackie. Maybe she's out walking my dog because, it's turning into a beautiful evening, and maybe she wants to take my dog Scamp out for a run before it gets too dark. VE3 IRB.
VE3
Yeah, take it away, Bob.
Sorry, I just gave a signal there so you knew I was coming. I was actually away from the radio. I thought Jackie was going to speak for a second. I disconnect my antennas all the time. Occasionally I might forget on a night, but not if there's any sign of any trouble. I do have lightning arresters and ground rods and all the fun stuff. But that's basically it. I do take precautions. Also, just wanted to say thank you to Gerard while I was on. Back to you.
Yeah.
Oh, Gerard's lurking on the side tonight. Okay, very good. Well, we'll get to you in a few minutes there, Gerard, and welcome to the Rag Chew. Let's see, who's next? VE3 DKW, Mark and Ryland.
Yeah, we were just actually wood piling back here. So, yeah, cutting and splitting, piling, and having a lot of fun. Well, having fun for the day. Grabbing the axe, putting all the weak pieces of wood up, and that's all we've done today, pretty much. And me and my dad had a race on our tractors, and it was actually really fun. So, back to you, Ed.
Well, that sounds like fun, racing around the yard in your tractors. That's awesome. And I hope you were a nice brother and left some of that wood for your sister to pile up, because I know I had sisters and they just loved piling wood. They would always get mad at me if I didn't leave any for them. Oh, very good. Well, glad to hear you're out there helping Dad. I know my young boy was helping me today too. Of course, he's 23 now and 6'5", but it's still nice to have the kids around, even when they get older. So very good. I'm glad you and your dad are having lots of fun during this event. You know what? You may miss some of your friends at school, but you're going to look back at 20 or 30 years from now and think, man, just think all the fun time we had. Let's see. VE3 KZT. John, and do you remember the question that Bob had for you? I think it had something to do with your ATAS.
Good evening again, Larry, and all those on frequency. Well, I posted a little thing on the sidebar there from yes. Bob, it works perfectly, and I don't know what was what, except maybe it needed to be given the boot in the butt or something, but it works fine now. Good stuff, and thank you very much. So I guess I owe you some coffee and donuts now. And one other little thing about lightning, I disconnect everything because in my previous life I lost my whole station to lightning. I had a new home, fairly new home, and the building intercom, and it even blew the intercom up clean out of the kitchen wall with about a 3-foot hole. And a little more interesting than that, being a tower crane operator at the CN tower, when it got hit by lightning, you could actually feel the tower move sitting with your butt in the tower crane seat. So there's a little hit on lightning. 7 trees. We'll catch you later at the end of the net.
Yikes! Yeah, that would be scary. And yeah, I guess you've got very good reason to disconnect. So I'll put you down as a disconnect guy. And yeah, I don't blame you. I guess if I lost everything, I'd probably be a lot more diligent too myself. And I hope it never comes to that. Let's see. I'm going to see if Jackie's back. VA3BTQ. Are you back with us, Jackie? Okay, nothing heard. And if you're online and you see me going like this every once in a while, I'm also working some what we call FT8. That's a digital mode over HF radio. And I've made contact so far this evening with stations all the way from Florida up to Northern California, Texas, Louisiana. It seems to be all the states that are along the edge of the United States. But it's been interesting, making a few contacts. And the nice thing is I don't have to talk to them because it's digital. It's just computer to computer, but it's still a neat way to make contacts when the bands are otherwise dead. VE3FJC, Walter.
Yes, sir. Well, I'm in the disconnect camp. I have 2 antenna switches and a knife switch, and every day or every time I disconnect or turn the rig off, I disconnect the antennas. And, touch wood, I haven't been hit yet, so watch the next electrical storm and I'll be probably hit. Anyway, that's it. Talk to you later. Nice talking with listening to everybody. 7-3. And that's about it from this end. 7-3.
Excellent, Walter. Yeah, I think everyone's going to be unplugging their radios tonight, and before they go to bed, or in the middle of the night, like at 2:47, they're going to bolt right upright in bed and run downstairs and start disconnecting. Very good. Let's see. VA3 KJI, Grant. Oh, I hope Grant didn't disconnect his antenna before the rag chew was over. Okay, nothing heard. So we'll go down to Gerard, VE3 CWR.
Yeah, good evening. I just got home a few minutes ago. That's why I wasn't on, but Bell shut everything off on me today. Phone, internet, television, the whole thing. I was supposed to switch on Thursday to Rogers, and Rogers couldn't come in because they had to drill a hole through the wall. There's no cable here, and they'd have to get a crew out to dig a line to put the cable in, and they can't come into the house. They can't drill through the wall because the panel's there, and they can't come into the house now. So anyway, they sent the thing through, and Bell shut everything off. So I'm on the phone for a couple hours, arguing and fighting with them. It was actually Roger's fault, not Bell's. But, anyway. And Robert, that radio, if you're going to clean the dial on it, the dial face, I don't know if I told you today, the plastic, you can only just take a small part of the dial face where there's no numbers or stuff, and just rub a little bit of water on it, and then if that's okay, it stays on. Just use a little bit of mild detergent, like dishwashing detergent or something, and just clean a little space. Otherwise, sometimes you put water on them things. They're water-based, and they'll just, they're gone. But, yeah, that's what I wanted to tell you. So anyway, antennas, always dipoles here. The last 70s and 80s, I had 80-foot towers, monobanders, worked the world several times and stuff. And, I was on DMR this morning on Canada-wide, 91, and I worked Japan, I worked India, I worked all England, Ireland, and 2 of them asked me, did I for QSL confirmation? I said, I don't give confirmations out on the telephone.
Oh, okay, very good. Yes, it is DMR, sort of one of those mixed bands. You know, you're using RF, but you're also using just voice over IP. So I don't know why someone would want a QSL card, but oh well, I guess some guys do collect them, and maybe they're trying to collect countries or provinces, and who knows. But yeah, I guess it could happen. Let's see if I'm going to go back and see if Grant is back. VA3 KJI. Okay, nothing heard. Jackie, VA3 BTQ. Okay, nothing heard. So at that point, I guess I'll take a brief standby, and we're at the end of the rag chew, but if anybody else wants to come ahead and add their name, add a bean to the pot, you're more than welcome to jump in, and if so, Now's your opportunity. This is Laird VE3LKS.
Yeah, 3 and a me.
Okay, I had two guys there. Let's see. I think there was a BAH. Is that correct, Brian?
That is correct, sir. I have an electronics question that I'd like to pass by the group, if you don't mind. Back to you.
Yeah, let me take the other station first, because that may be a check-in. The other station, go ahead.
Yeah, VE3, Norway, Mexico, Denmark.
Oh, very good, Darren. Well, you've been listening online, so you know the drill. Let's hear your antenna stories. And do you disconnect?
Okay, for antennas, well, right now for 2 meter, just the mag mount in the windowsill, ground level, unfortunately. That's what I have up. And for HF, I have a 40 meter dipole and a R9. That's not tuned. I just got it up, and snow started to fly, so I haven't tuned it. But I have lots of antennas, a couple step IRs, and a couple tri-band beams, and lots of beam antennas for VHF, UHF, microwave too. But unfortunately, don't have a tower, so they're all just sitting like Jimmy in boxes in the house here. And yeah, I definitely disconnect everything, sort of go to the extreme. While the shack was designed, well, all my shacks have been designed that with one plug I just pull all the 120 volt for everything, one for the 250 volt for the amp, another twist lot for the ground. The network for the IP is actually a fiber optic cable that connects the shack to my main switch, so I don't have to disconnect that. And yeah, and I only plug in the power or the antennas when I'm using the radios. If I'm not using the radios, everything's disconnected.
Okay, very good, Darren. Yeah, I like how you made the comment regarding Jimmy. Where have I gone wrong? Why are you guys hesitant about putting antennas up? Anyways, excellent. It sounds like you have a few projects still to work on, and the snow hasn't flown in a while, Darren. So you got no excuse not to get out there and get those antennas tuned up. And I'm curious about the Step IR. I'd heard about this antenna, so I went to YouTube the other night and watched a video on one, and this guy had a real slick one. I don't know what yours is like, but it was... he had like a couple of crank units on it, almost like you would have on a trailer, to lift the trailer up and down. But he had one to pull the wire up and through, and the other one was to lengthen or shorten his horizontal dipole on there. So I thought, well, that's pretty cool. What kind of configuration do you have for your Step IR?
Okay, have 3 of them actually. So I have a 3-element beam, which has never been up, brand new from the guy I bought it from, had never put it up due to medical reasons. Also, bought a big IR, which is a vertical, so the 80 meter to 6 meter vertical. I haven't put that up yet either. I'm going to hopefully paint it next week when it's warm and I can get outside and just have to recondition the antenna, because that one he had up for about 10 years or so. And I just put it over the winter, except for the pipes. And have another one, basically the dipole version as well, which it just sort of like the driven element of the beam. I was hoping to use them at field day this year, but looks like that's not going to happen. So bring it out next year, or have you come over and take a look.
Okay, very good. Well, I'm going to do some more research on these Step IRs then, because after watching the video that I saw, I thought it was just like a vertical wire that you could adjust the height on. and but the way you describe, you've got like a beam antenna that's a step IR and a horizontal, I mean a vertical as well, but it's more of a solid unit. So okay, back to YouTube tonight. I love it. And if anyone's online here and wants to watch some good YouTube stuff on ham radio, there is a guy named Josh. He's got a YouTube channel called Ham Radio. Oh, it was just on my mind a minute ago. I'll look for it here in a second. Ham Radio Crash Course. And he talks about all sorts of things. And that's where I saw this Step IR, I believe. But now you got me intrigued. Anyways, Brian had a question for the group. Sorry, Brian. Take it away. VA3, BAH, VE3, LKS.
Well, thanks, Laird. VE3LKS. This is VA3BAH. Well, ironically enough, we have a free list here in Kingston that we use, and I posted online about an hour ago. Nobody answered me until, of course, I mentioned that I had a question to you, and then I just got a phone call from one of the guys in my club that told me what I needed to. But I'll tell you what my question was. I have a Heil headset, and it's got both a left and a right side for your listening and a microphone. And it was shorting out at the connection where it plugged to the radio. So, of course, I opened it up, and the wires had all come off. So they were just touching each other, right side working. And I thought that I had got the ground on the wrong spot, which I did. So the three wires are green, blue, and brown. Which one is the ground? That's my question.
Okay, let's see. Let's try.
No idea there at all. I don't know about a ground, but one might be a common. I'm not sure how the...
Okay, very good. How about Bob?
I wouldn't be able to. They just remind me of the English wiring system. If Jeffrey's still on, Jeffrey, do you remember which is ground? Is it blue or brown?
Okay, well, yeah, I guess we're out of luck here, Brian. If somebody else knows, pipe up right now. Yeah, take it away.
And reverse two of the wires and see what happens. But the guy you right that control.
Okay, very good. Yeah, I think green would have been my guess, but I wasn't sure, so I didn't want to tell you one thing and go for another. But if he says it's green, then chances are it is. Anybody else on here might know. If so, please pop in right now. Okay, so you got a few greens there, Brian, and interesting. Okay.
So a new audio jack solder on this one that it won't.
Thank you to everyone who checked into the rag chew. Either on only two don't. So now I'm worried. If I hear lightning in the nighttime, I'm going to just be under my sheets, just shaking. Anyways, it's been fun, gentlemen and ladies.
Laird, just before you go, did Jack JSW check in tonight?
We could hit our repeater.
Okay, thank you very much, JC.
Yeah, fine business, Walter. I know he's quite active on Facebook, so if you're on Facebook, you can probably hook up with him. But I would have thought that when he moved to fourth floor.
Haven't